All right, so getting into a little bit of a project breakdown for you guys today. It's going to be one that I think will give you an insight to one of the blue chip tokens that have been around for a while. And I think some of you have probably invested in this one, maybe looked at it for, over the past couple of years. We're going to break that one down for you. It's going to be interesting. It is Algorand. Don't miss it. My name is Paul Barrow. Welcome back into Tech Path. All right, so let's get into a couple of things here today with Algorand. We're going to give you a project update, kind of go over some history as well from where this token has come from. First, I want to just kind of jump into Silvio Micali, who is pretty much the guy behind Algorand. If you can follow him over here on his Twitter account, looks like he's got a new profile picture up there, so doing a little bit of funness there. And if you don't know who Silvio is, first of all, he's a Turing Award winner, one of the highest accolades you can get as an engineer or a scientist. And Silvio, if you look over his Wikipedia page, he's known for a lot of things, but one of the things he's known for most, which I want to kind of flow into, and you guys will be a little bit surprised here when I zoom in on this, he's best known for as one of the co-inventors of zero-knowledge proofs. Now, of course, that technology is being utilized by a lot of blockchain projects out there. So the fact that he has done so much in this space, blockchain, but even more importantly around ZK proofs, just shows you what the vision is for Algorand, what it might mean for the project overall. All right, so I want to get into a clip here in case maybe you're not aware of what Algorand is. It'll give you a little bit of a breakdown. Let's go to that clip real quick.
Proof of work, that is the first, we all know, very expensive, very slow, and generates centralization. So expensive and fast, sometimes is okay. Expensive is slow, excuse me. Now, expensive and slow and centralized? No. Miners are, if you want to know my opinion, the subproduct of an incentive scheme that Nakamoto got wrong. And everybody that does proof of work copied the wrong thing. Hatoff had a great vision. I envision something distributed. They didn't say, on top of these things, I envision the rise of mining pools. Who cares about mining pools, right? He didn't want them. But the incentive scheme that he did, because he was not well thought out, generated all this. Okay, so these approaches do not quite work, and that's why, and here are just a few of them, that very often you don't get 3 out of 3. We all have good goals here, right? The question is, do we have the technology to attain our goals? That blockchains are all and foremost about technology.
All right, so as you can see, there's a lot there from Silvio. Some of these clips are coming for as many as 5, 6, 7 years ago. But this is something that I think, and many people have kind of recognized this with Algorand, because we have a lot of people in the audience that have talked about it and rave about where Algorand is going in the future. But he is talking about proof of stake and kind of the centralization of some projects versus decentralization. Obviously, Algorand being decentralized. I also want to go into another clip here around the pure proof of stake. Listen to what he had to say there.
When you put the entire economy at the mercy of a very small part, you are asking for trouble. What is the small part of the economy that must be honest for Bitcoin to work? The miners. So what do we do in Algorand? Essentially is the following. The economy is represented by tokens, 10 billion tokens, and if the majority of these 10 billion tokens are in honest hands, the system is secure. Put it in another way, who can really destroy Algorand? You need that the majority of the token collude together to destroy the very economy of which they own the majority of. That's what we call pure proof of stake, and is really the Algorand approach to security in blockchain.
All right, so it gives you a little bit of insight to the difference between Algorand and Bitcoin around pure proof of stake. And this is something that they've been pretty much campaigning on and have built their house on this. The other aspect that Algorand kind of brings to the point is this whole idea of the power of randomness. And I want to play another clip here of Silvio talking about this. Listen in.
I believe actually in the power of randomness. Can you generate randomness out of nothing? No. What it turns out, what you can do, you can expand randomness. What is at the basis of Algorand is a cryptographically fair lottery. We play a game. the users select themselves based on how many algos they have. Essentially, think of it, having one algo allows you to operate a slot machine that whose lever you can only pull down once and with two possible outcomes. Most of the time you don't win such a case. I can say anything I want about the next block. Nobody pays attention to what I say because I didn't win the lottery. The one time when I operate my lever and I win, I get also a winning ticket, mathematical proofs that I won my own lottery. And therefore, what I do, I disseminate on the network both my winning ticket and my opinion about the block, say, up or down. Even a nation state with huge computational resources cannot alter minimally the probability of my winning. How long does it take to lower the lever? 1 microsecond. Now the other question is that scalable? Yes. Distributed? Yes. Is it secure? Well, I'm going to corrupt the 1,000 winners. But I have a problem. What is my problem? I do not know who the winners will be. And once I know, it's too late to corrupt them. Roughly, that's the idea.
And this is the power of true randomness.
Yes. And I had 300 coin tosses, and the possible outcomes are as many as the elementary particle in the universe is mind-boggling. The first time you realize this is a aha moment for everybody.
It is one of the things that we've talked about with the Algorand team here before. I remember when Sean came on our show for the first time, he talked about this idea of the power of randomness and why it was in a position where it couldn't be manipulated. It is one of those kind of core competencies that Algorand brings to the game. Another one that they bring to the game is their idea of carbon neutral and even carbon negative. This, of course, is the greenest blockchain technology, and is it possible? This was an article that was written over there by their climate trade, and it kind of breaks down a couple of things within their framework, but more importantly, we actually were on with them to talk about this partnership and some of the things that they were executing on trying to create a green blockchain. And they've been able to do it to a fairly good extent. I want to go to a clip here that talks about their carbon negative benefits. Listen in.
In Europe, what is happening is that already the non-financial reporting is mandatory in the European Union. And also there is a new regulation that whenever you go to invest in an investment fund, they have to ask you if you want your fund to be sustainable or not. What are we gonna say? Same price, I want it sustainable, no? Let's say 95% of the occasions. So what is happening now is that all companies are gonna run towards sustainability, because if not, the asset managers that has a rating of that companies, if that rating is a bad rating, they won't include that companies in their folders, in the investment funds. So what is going to happen is that the shares would go down. So they are going to run towards sustainability, and you have to do it for real, because the investors every time will have more information, and you cannot fake this and make greenwashing anymore, you know?
All right, so that was a clip actually that we did here on the channel 2 years ago. And the interesting thing about that is they preceded a lot of what was happening in the development of MiCA, which is the European regulation body around blockchain and crypto assets in general. And part of that, preceding that, part of that is really going in toward this whole idea of carbon neutrality. It is one of the things that is going to start to separate of how investment managers can go into certain projects. MiCA has already put that into their regulatory alignment. So that's another factor right here. I want to jump over here to a quick tweet. This is from Dan Reed's Finance. Average energy usage per transaction kilowatt, ascending order. This is Hedera, Algorand, Polygon, AVAX, DOT, Solana, Cardano, etc. You can kind of see the list right here on the actual usage. We've played a couple and showed a few of these, but of course, Algorand right there, Hedera, Polygon, layer 2, playing into this Avalanche, Polkadot. All of these are really the blue chips of what's happening out there in the crypto space. The difference, of course, is how you would be able to invest in those. And even if you look at Ethereum, which is way down on the list here at 238 kilowatt hours, in comparison to what Algorand, which is 0.0028. So those are big factors kind of playing into this. The other thing that starts to go into this is the ISO 2022 list, which is a whole list of compliant projects and tokens. Let me jump over to that ISO list real quick, and we'll just jump into the list right here. Number one was Quant, Ripple, Stellar, Hedera, IOTA, which is MIOTA, XDC, which we've talked a little bit with those guys before, Algorand right there, Cardano, and then VGX. So again, these are all ISO 2022. Many people have looked at what the compliancy of this is, and it's really around this idea of these tokens and cryptocurrencies being approved by centralized banking, which is part of this toward how this may play into the future of a lot of these projects, which is why some of these projects have had some pretty good accelerants, especially around a lot of the CBDC news. So if you're not aware, Algorand was part of a lawsuit along with a lot of other tokens, but Algorand and Flow obviously were some of the ones that got hit the most. They crashed to all-time lows. All of this happening really around the whole idea as to what is a security, what is a potential commodity, and this is where it gets into the gray area, which is what we've talked about on this channel quite a bit. I want to go over to a clip real quick. This clip will give you a little bit more of an alignment of how Algorand thinks they and what they are versus what the SEC might think. Listen in.
We got financed only by selling equity in our company, which is an honorable and traditional way to do things, and our tokens we sell at auctions. What is the price? You decide the price. We never sold a token, period. At launch, in the mainnet, we start a sequence of Dutch auction. So you're going to see all the bids on the blockchain, so you know we're going to have a fair price. And everybody plays the same price. The typical SEO says, hey, I fix the price, one token, €2. How many tokens do you want? There is nothing fair about this. How can sense of a community you build if everybody is unfairly treated from day one? That somebody else got tokens, it is unimaginable, right?
All right, so I think the argument is there. It's interesting that even Chair Genlser, which formerly MIT, also with Silvio at MIT, all of that, and even Chair Genlser has kind of talked promising, I think, to the high side around Algorand as a whole, and then obviously included them in that list. So it's an interesting thing. The other thing that you have to look at is the overall team that surrounds a lot of these projects. You guys probably heard me say this before. When you're breaking down tokens, you want to look at their, of course, tokenomics, their metrics. Obviously, you want to look at the team behind it, and then just look at the project and the eventual things that this project is trying to solve as a solution. Jumping over to their foundation CEO, this, of course, is a former JP Morgan exec. And just to give you an idea, let me I think I had some highlights here. Yeah. All right. So she was an executive director at JP Morgan for 8 years, where she led public sector division. This was in Europe, along with Middle East, Africa, et cetera. All of this was on improving markets and emerging markets. Now, there's two things here that are interesting. One, JP Morgan. Two, is she's very aware of what's happening in the European zone. So when you look at the advancements of MiCA, which is the regulatory body now inside Europe, and you've got an executive that already understands how to navigate those waters, that's a recipe for some good success, especially if there's some alignment with MiCA around the whole idea of ESG, carbon neutrality, all those kind of things that play into this. So that's another advantage for Algorand as a whole. Algorand also boosts performance in their latest protocol upgrade. A couple of points here I want to kind of flow in. The upgrade now on the mainnet reduces block time to roughly 3.3 seconds, about 10% increase in speed. That's a good one. And then Algorand has experienced, this is the big one, 0 downtime since it went live in 2019. Now, we can't say that for a lot of blockchains, including some of the best ones that we find out there that are being used by a lot of projects right now. Whether you look at Solana or many others that are out there, but literally 100% uptime since 2019. Pretty impressive, I think, overall. I want to jump to this next clip, which is going to be a good one. This gets into the idea of how Algorand's use case could go into the travel industry. Listen to this one right here.
The travel ticket has been the last financial tool without any secondary market. Finally, we can own our travel ticket, use them as we please, or sell them if we so please. and we want to own, that's my damn ticket, and I can sell it to whoever I want. We don't need to be aided by anybody. Unnecessary intermediaries must be obviated. We shall prevail.
If anyone hears from Ticketmaster, take note. He's coming for you.
All right, so this, of course, was in 2022, and the event was around the idea of NFTs used in the travel industry. travel-x was the project, I should say. They hit a milestone, 1 million passengers right now with their NFT tickets right here on their Twitter page. We take immense pride in announcing over 1 million passengers are already experiencing NFT ticketing technology. And this has really just started when you think about where they've come from, which is just less than a year ago, and they've already started to accelerate and have not really cracked into the major air carriers. So when you see this going into major air carriers, this could be one that is very interesting, especially around ticketing. And they're right. I mean, you heard the host there he was talking to Silvio about the idea of Ticketmaster, because there are some problems with Ticketmaster. We've talked about this before. NFTs, smart contracts, these can help to fix this. Could Algorand be one of the projects that actually goes in and nails it? We'll see. A couple other aspects. If you look at just travel-x's concept here, you'll notice here, let me zoom in on this a little bit. So you can kind of see the NFT ticket concept here. But what is interesting is where these NFTs, new channels could start to become enabled. So new channels, you'll see things like Coinbase, Binance, OpenSea, Amazon, Alibaba, then into ideas around social sharing like Instagram, etc. All of those could essentially find their way into these new ways to interact with getting tickets, even into idea of reselling. So it starts to change the future of how tickets and travel, and even in some cases, entertainment will be managed. Anything that requires ticketing out there. So I think this is another big one that travel-x is on top of. Another aspect to this, concert ticket turmoil, getting into Ticketmaster, kind of to their point that they were referencing there. Was a couple of points here I wanted to hit on. And this is talking about fans who have to kind of navigate these prices, which are ridiculous in many cases, fake tickets, bots, etc. Endless queues, kind of a blurred line between verified sites and shady ones. When you're buying, if you've ever bought a ticket for a big name artist, you know what I'm talking about. It's a difficult track. And in many cases, both bad tickets and good tickets are being marketed almost in the same fashion. So this gets back into the potential of where blockchain could solve all of this. This was just another story talking about Taylor Swift's tickets could be useless if they were bought from a resale site. This was the kind of the point that I'm getting at. So fans have been left kind of baffled after they discovered resale sites such as Viagogo and StubHub are still advertising tickets to Swift's concerts after Ticketmaster announced that they're non-transferable. So that's another big factor that would play into this. Again, this kind of technology would solve a lot of these kind of problems. So when you look at projects and you look at major market disruption, because that's typically what some of these blockchain projects will be able to do. They will be able to do major market disruption. That moves you into this next era of Web3, and who are those winners going to be? So those are the things that we're watching anytime that we can when we look at kind of the growth of some of these projects. If you look at the ALGO Explorer, you can see a little bit of growth right here, but I want to go back here to April 2023. Let me zoom in on that a little bit. Let me see if I can zoom in on that for you guys. So this is April 2023. You can kind of see algo transactions around 2 million. Look at this explosion right here to where they are right now, 3.5 million. So now maybe this isn't massive, but when you look at Algorand already being depleted to pretty much one of its lowest points ever, you look at the timing in the market, because remember, a lot of these projects almost go into hibernation mode during these bear markets. Then you look at the impact of what they've been working on over that period of time and the alignment that they've put into play for major issues like MiCA, like ESG. And then you look at the use case in some of the aspects of things like travel and ticketing. And what else does Algorand have up their sleeve? That's going to be the real question, is what else do they start to really release out there? One thing I will say, and this is just, if you, and I'm sure you guys, if you're following Algorand, already know this, but not a great NFT platform. This is one of the areas they could use a lot of innovation in. And maybe there's something starting to brew in that area. The other area that is really lacking is gaming. You can kind of see just some of the game projects that are out there. I won't say that these are not great projects. I'll just say that these are projects that they're definitely not at the front of the pipeline when it comes to Web3 gaming. So this would be another area in which Algorand could improve. So you kind of have to look at all the aspects of it. The other point that's kind of funny, this was just a tweet. I'll show the tweet in a second. But obviously Hoskinson, I think he does this with everybody right now, but he's trying to get Algorand proposing a sidechain collaboration, and Algorand's kind of like not having any of it right here. This was just funny. I just thought it'd be a good joke. Anyway, as you can see, might be interested. But listen, if you believe in Algorand or if you believe in Cardano, you know, there's some things you would have to look at here, some of which would be in the reference to market cap and the current size of each of these projects. Just to give you an example, here is Algorand right here, and you can kind of see a little bit here on market cap right there. Total supply almost fully, fully circulated right now, so that's a big deal. And market cap setting at right now about 740 million. So if you like this project, and again, trading at one of its lowest points in a while, so 9 cents right there. Let me go to the all-time just to show you how far down this is down been at. Right there is market cap at 746. So yeah, right at 746 right now, trading currently at one of its lowest points ever. I think the last time we saw this was, gosh, let's all the way back in 2021. So anyway, all of that might be a good timing here for Algorand. And then if you look at just the charts in general, Algorand setting here at number 46, right there. You can kind of see their market cap right there. I'll zoom in on that a little bit for you guys, so in case you can't see it. All right, now let's take a look at who could they leap over. A lot of projects here they could easily top going into what they might be competing with, which would be more in the lines of Cardano. And of course, Cardano being a top 10 token, you can kind of see just the alignment of a lot of these. Right here is Cardano holding a $9 billion market cap. So big difference here, guys. I think these are the kind of projects, if you are thinking, hey, what's going to blow up in the next run? Is this one that you would consider? I'd love to get your feedback. Make sure and smash the like button. I want to play one more clip for you that goes into their market cap growth. Listen into what he had to say.
Now, how do you sort of penetrate the market, right? How can you sort of go from a blockchain that maybe is in the top 40 coins to top 20? And how important is it to sort of be sort of in that upper echelon in terms of developer interest, folks building on the chain? Even if you have the best technology, maybe if you don't have the best marketing, it might make things difficult.
But I believe that after this speculation goes down, what remains is the blockchain technology. So just remember, T+2 is the settlement time right in the financial market. T is the time of the transaction, and 2 is the number of days to settle. In 2 days, anything can happen. So I really believe that technology is going to be important, and to be technologically ready and positioned for the next really wave of real world application of blockchain is what really matters.
All right, so if you've been following our channel for some time, and maybe you're brand new to this, this is where you get a chance to pick up real alpha. And I feel like it, because we started reporting on Algorand over 2 years ago. And if you look back at just the charts, I just want to show you where we were back in, we'll go, let's say January 2021, where Algorand started its move. That is a 12% gain right there. Even if you go into the last time that we did a big interview with them, that was in July of 2 years ago, still holding at 122%. Now, when you think about that, because many people, including us, we were buying and selling Algorand, trading in and out of it. Granted, that was during a period of time in which we saw markets at all-time high. But the point being is, now that you see a market correction from that all-time high, we won't go from the wicks, we'll just go from the top right here at about $1.80 to where it's trading right now. This is a 94% market drop. So this is something that we see often in these cycles, in these bear cycles, and if you believe in projects that are doing these kinds of initiatives, and especially if they're starting to potentially release some projects advancements then this is the perfect time to be looking at some of these projects. Not saying that you should invest in these, but these are the markers that we watch for in all of these kinds of tokens. And again, it goes back to, do you believe in the project? Do you like the team? And if you do, has it fallen enough in this bear market at 94% down, literally from its top? Maybe Algorand is one of those that might be one for consideration. All right, so if you guys like these project breakdowns, what I'd ask for you to do is drop some comments and the tokens you would like us to maybe break down for you. I can't promise all of them, but we try to do more and more project breakdowns, especially in these times where there are some potentials to really identify. So make sure and just drop some comments down below. We love all that. If you're not part of our Diamond Circle, make sure and get in. It's very easy and it's simple. Just click the link down below. It's a place where you'll get additional content. We do podcasts, all sorts of additional TA analysis, market analysis, a thing we call the market mover. All that is done over in the Diamond Circle. All you have to do is click the link down below. And of course, if you want to follow me, it's out there on Twitter @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.